In Part 4, we looked at the targets for attention. Now we'll look at where they're hiding. The match is a confusing, chaotic place, and players need the tools to make sense of it. We'll start with Vickers' definition of the visuomotor workspace. Simply put, it's an area that contains targets. We saw in Part 4 the second lowest level of attention is to focus exclusively on the ball. It's a significant step up when kids can separate their attention from it and include the player in possession. The next area is the player's immediate or personal space. Objects can enter and leave here, and the location is a moving target. Next is proximate space. When you expand personal space, it begins to overlap other objects' personal space. This overlap is dynamic and requires continual refocusing of attention. This creates a series of rapidly evolving systems. Here, the laws of dynamic, systems-based behavior takes charge, and attention has to focus on more abstract concepts. Concrete targets in defined space lose their importance. Deep space is reserved for the top playmaking talents. Not only do they have to possess great technique, but they have to look deep enough, long enough, and fast enough to observe, orient, decide, and act effectively. The final geographic workspace is the field itself. Unless an object associated with the game is off of it, a player taking a throw in, the coach, data is generated within this area. Systems and probabilities gain prominence when discontiguous workspaces demand attention. The focus on objects in space gives way to time and value. Here we have a blue free kick. Red, numbers 2 and 4, divide their attention between the ball and their immediate opponent. They are aware of the 1v1 between them. Now the ball has been played to the central striker. They must rapidly reorient to this evolving situation. They have to dynamically read all of the objects in view while their previous orientation and actions acts as a constraint. Earlier, I said that being a ball watcher was the second lowest level of attention. At number 1 is an internal focus for attention. When you look inward, you cease to gather data from the environment. You become isolated, and the consequence is that you cannot understand or make any sense of what is happening. Isolation is what you want for your opponent. Interactions are what you want for yourself and your teammates. This model was introduced in Part 4. From what we've seen here, players confront abstract systems and the need for future thinking early in their education. If their education dwells on concrete targets, learning will be stifled. This is the brick-by-brick method of formal schooling. If their education focuses on slightly higher abstract levels, they have a chance to use their existing experience for an aha moment, and learning can take a huge leap. In Part 6, we'll take a brief look at the camera and projector apparatus we use to gather this data for processing.